Hey everybody, it's Steve, and I'd like to ask you to think about some of your wins. This is what I ask my coaching cohorts and my clients every time we meet. Share some wins with me. Wins stands for what I need to savor, wins. And they can be just the kindness of others, the faithfulness of God, something that's a gratitude for you. Maybe it's a success of your own. Maybe it's incremental progress you've made, some pleasant surprises, just what has gone well. Those are your wins where it's undeniable, like that went well and I'm happy it happened and that was a win for me, however big or small. In our story of Ruth and Naomi, Ruth is going to have a day of wins. And it's going to illustrate the second of our three words that can give you help for the holidays. Help you move from where you are to maybe where you want to be. And the first word was faith. We talked about it last week. It's in my last video on my YouTube channel. And so you can watch that. But basically, I'm using faith to describe what you're holding on to when you have no evidence that God's there or that he has a plan or that he's watching out for you. You're just heartbroken and you're in your feelings and it's a legitimate place to be. And sometimes you just need to hold on to that tiny mustard seed of faith, that little flickering flame of faith might be all you've got and there might not be much more. But next comes a bridge from where you are to where you might want to be. And that bridge is found in the word hope. And in our story, which we began last week, the story of Ruth and Naomi, Ruth has a day of wins when she wakes up and says, I'm making this part up. She wakes up and says, I'm hungry. Naomi is depressed. Someone needs to go get a job. I guess it's me. She goes out the door. She goes, works in the fields, and she finds herself in the field of a family relative named Boaz. She doesn't know it, but he starts looking out for her. He asks because he knows he's a farmer. He's a harvester. He knows who's working in his fields and who the poor are, the working poor who are gleaning around the perimeter of that grain that they leave for the poor. And here is Ruth reduced to doing the work that poor people do. We don't know that she was poor where she came from in her homeland in Moab, but immigrants frequently have to start over, and here she is. She's not too proud to do it. And he says, all right, I know her family. I've heard about what she's done for her mother-in-law. Now, y'all, do not give her a hard time. Don't harass her. Don't let anybody touch her. Don't let anybody bully her. Show her where the break room is, where the water is, the coffee, I'm making that part up. And then at lunchtime, he says, hey, have her come and join us for lunch and eat with our field workers. And at the end of the day, he says, I want to give you some extra bags of barley to take home to your mother-in-law and give her my love. And Ruth is like, oh my gosh. And she goes home with these groceries, opens the door, comes in, puts them on the counter, and Naomi experiences hope. She says, what in the world? Where have you been? And Ruth tells her about her day of wins. And Naomi gets a win. Naomi hasn't done anything. But she still gets a pleasant surprise, provision, proof of God's faithfulness. And she says, he hasn't forgotten us. Read it in Ruth chapter 2. This is great stuff. So, my hope and my prayer is that God will remind you here in the month of November, here in this holiday season, that he's never lost track of you, that he has his eye on you. And though he may have dealt with you in some severe ways, he has not left you and has not forsaken you, and he's about to provide for you, and he's going to prove it. And it can come through the wins that you experience. And so here is my call to action, and that is that you would say a prayer. And I'd like to challenge you to say it every day. It's a prayer you're going to make up, but I'll give you the bullets for it. The first part of it is, Lord, this is how I'm feeling. And it's just, let it all hang out. Be as negative as you want to be. Pound on his chest. Tell him how you're really feeling. Honesty is the best policy, especially in prayer. God can take it. So bring to him how you're feeling. I'm feeling down. I'm feeling forgotten. I'm feeling mad at you. Whatever you feel, lay it all out. Then ask him to prove his faithfulness to you, to give you undeniable proof that he's there and that he's got you. This is not something you're going to make up. This is going to be God things you're asking for. However big or small, evidence and reminders that can give you some glimmers of hope. Just like Naomi got. I mean, everything wasn't all fine now, but there was undeniable evidence of God's goodness and love. That's the second part of your prayer. The last part of your prayer is, Lord, give me eyes to see. Because sometimes we're like Rachel in the Old Testament, who refused to be comforted. Her heart was so broken. It's like, I don't want to hear it. And of course, bitterness is like taking poison and hoping someone else will die. I'm going to get back at God by being bitter. I'm going to be, and I want to call you and challenge you to say, Lord, give me eyes to see the proof of your faithfulness. When you do your thing, help me to see it. Give me my wins. Okay? That is it. So I'd like to hear from you. How is this conversation sitting with you? What are your questions, comments, or snide remarks? If there's somebody out there that you think could be encouraged by a video like this, would you please share it with them? Or if you want to share it on your social or something, somebody out there might be holding on just a razor's edge, just needs some hope, and maybe you can be a conduit for that. That's what I've got for you today. Hey, today is a week from my cancer surgery. I go in November 10th of 2022. So you'll get this video on the weekend. I really would appreciate your prayers. I'm going to finish out, God willing, these videos before I go in so that you'll have, help for the holiday season. No matter what happens to me, JK, LOL. But hey, listen, I love you a lot. Thank you for your love and your prayers and your support. Hang in there, and we will see you on the flippity flip. Bye-bye.